Imagine buying a tube of toothpaste, a bar of chocolate, or a bottle of water, and seeing the word radioactive proudly printed on the label as a health benefit. Imagine wealthy people going to high-end spas to sit in dark, damp caves filled with radioactive radon gas to cure their arthritis. In the early 1900s, the world wasn't afraid of radiation. They drank it, wore it, and brushed their teeth with it. It was treated as a miracle potion of pure life energy. People had no idea that they were inviting a silent, invisible assassin into their bodies. For thousands of years, humanity believed that the atom was the solid, unbreakable, unchangeable building block of all reality. A piece of gold was gold, a piece of lead was lead, and that was that. But in 1896, a French physicist named Henri Becquerel accidentally shattered that entire reality because of a cloudy day in Paris. Becquerel was experimenting with uranium rocks. He believed they absorbed sunlight and re-emitted it as X-rays. To test this, he planned to place the rocks on photographic plates under the sun, but the sky remained gray and overcast for days. Frustrated, he tossed the uranium rocks into a dark desk drawer, wrapped in a black cloth, directly on top of an unused photographic plate. A few days later, he decided to develop the plate anyway, expecting to see nothing. Instead, he stared in absolute shock. The image of the rock was burned deep into the plate. Even in a pitch-black drawer, wrapped in thick cloth, the rock was constantly firing out a fierce, invisible stream of energy. It didn't need the sun. The power was coming from deep inside the rock itself. Enter a young Polish scientist in Paris named Marie Curie, fascinated by Becquerel's uranium rays. She and her husband Pierre decided to find out what was causing this mysterious energy. Working out of a leaky, freezing wooden shed with no ventilation, Marie Curie began processing tons of pitchblende, a heavy industrial waste rock left over from mining. Day after day, she stood over a massive, bubbling iron cauldron, stirring boiling chemicals with an iron rod as heavy as herself. It was brutal, agonizing physical labor. But as she chemically stripped away the known elements, the rocks became hotter and more active. She realized she was discovering entirely new elements. She coined the term radioactivity to describe the strange property. Eventually, she isolated two new elements: polonium, named after her homeland, and radium, named after the Latin word for ray. Radium was unlike anything the world had ever seen. In the dead of night, Marie and Pierre would walk into their dark shed, and they would see their tiny vials of radium glowing with a beautiful, soft, ethereal blue-green light. It looked like a cosmic superpower captured in a bottle. What they didn't know was that radium was a beautiful monster. At the subatomic level, radioactive atoms are unstable. Their nuclei are too packed, too heavy, and too frantic. To find peace, these atoms literally tear themselves apart, violently throwing out tiny fragments of themselves at near the speed of light. When you stand near radium, those microscopic fragments slice through your body like invisible biological bullets. They shred your DNA, shatter your cells, and corrupt your bones. Because nobody understood this, the radium craze exploded. Factory girls, later known as the Radium Girls, were hired to paint the dials of watches with glowing radium paint. To get a sharp tip on their brushes, their managers told them to lick the bristles. Every time they did, they swallowed a tiny bit of the invisible fire. Within years, their teeth fell out, their jaws literally crumbled, and many died agonizing deaths. Marie Curie herself paid the ultimate price. She walked around with vials of radium in her coat pockets, stored them in her desk drawers, and cherished the glow. In 1934, she died of aplastic anemia, caused by decades of radiation exposure. To this day, over 90 years later, Marie Curie's laboratory notebooks, her furniture, and even her personal cookbooks are still so intensely radioactive that they are kept in lead-lined boxes. If you want to read her research at the National Library of France, you have to sign a liability waiver and wear heavy protective clothing. The gap between a French scientist opening a dark desk drawer in 1896 and a modern nuclear medicine team using targeted radiation to destroy cancer cells in a hospital, is a massive technological chasm. One treated radiation as a glowing health drink. The other treats it as a dangerous, volatile cosmic fire that must be handled with absolute precision. Both are dealing with the exact same tearing of the atom. So, the next time you hear a smoke detector beep in your hallway, look at a glowing watch dial, or get an X-ray at the dentist. Take a second to think about it. You are interacting with the raw, unstable core of the universe, an invisible fire that cost the lives of the geniuses who found it and changed our understanding of reality forever.